All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Sex, Drugs, and Soul. Today I have on Alexis Quitario.
Quitario.
Damn it!
So good. It's so good. It's good. Go ahead. We're
We make
human. We got this.
mistakes.
We got this.
Yeah.
So good.
I'm like, damn it.
You're so
Say
good.
it 3 times fast. Okay. She's an author, she's a speaker, a digital storyteller, and a community builder. And a mutual friend of ours connected us. So I think today we're gonna dive into like some intimacy questions or communication, how to deepen relationships. So we'll just dive in. And I want to ask you my signature question before I forget, because sometimes I'm like, it gets lost in the mix. So it's basically what's turning you on right now or making you feel the most alive.
This concept of self-mastery.
Mm.
So it's not about controlling. And this is a really big shift I've made in the past year when I was living primarily in my masculine, and now I've really leaned into my feminine. And so instead of controlling, it's more about knowing yourself. And it's about feeling rather than trying to learn more information. And that is what's exciting me, because then you get to this point of knowing yourself so well that you get to show up in the world, and that expression of you is your truth. So you don't have to try to be anyone. You don't have to perform. So it's truly about being in your body and knowing yourself deeply and like feeling those emotions and having the courage to feel those emotions. Such a turn on for me right now.
Yeah, feeling emotions is definitely something that juices me up right now. Would you say that getting to know yourself like incorporates or weaves in like that self-trust?
It does, absolutely. And when that self-trust is there, then you don't have to worry about keeping any story straight or performing. It's really about being an embodiment.
Yeah, it kind of seems like, because whatever happens, good, bad, ugly, sad, the roller coaster.
It's
of
you.
human, yeah, you can handle it, whatever comes your way. I've definitely had some of that too. I resonate with the piece of the your story about living in their masculine. I didn't know for so long. And then I think I went to like an ISTA or something, and I realized, has my masculine been serving as a protector for my feminine? Like, what's going on? What kind of moment, or is there a moment that you realized like, hey, I've been living this and I want to make a different choice or choose to live differently?
Yeah, I'm going to take you back a couple of years when I
Please,
lived
let's
in...
rewind.
We're going to rewind a little bit. Back when I lived in Hawaii with some of my really good friends, one of my girlfriends, super in her feminine. And we hung out a lot. We shared a lot of space together and we lived together. So I was around her a lot and I was like, I really like how she does this. And I really like how she does that. And so I opened up to her about it. And I was like, why is this is so beautiful and flowy? And she was like, I'm just really in my feminine. And it was what really started to turn me on to the concept of femininity. From before, I primarily operated in my masculine because I did gymnastics for 16 years growing up. And so everything was structured, discipline, routine, performance. And every single time I showed up, I was judged for it in terms of competing. So that's the mask and the shell that I held onto for so long. And I didn't realize I was trying to hold myself and control myself in all areas of life until a year and a half ago, which is wild to think about. So when I was talking to my girlfriend about that and I lived with her, I actually had my first ayahuasca ceremony when I was in Hawaii. And one of the first messages that came through to me was the fact that I was being called to the medicine. So anyone that knows, it's like, okay, well, you need to feel called. It's usually not something you just do and show up at on a whim. And so, yeah, so one of the first messages, she was like, I've been waiting for you. Where have you been? And I was like, I didn't hear you. And that was because I was not in tune with my feminine and I was blocked. And so then I started leaning into all of these feminine characteristics, one of the major ones being getting my IUD out. A lot of like really like vulnerable stuff. Like there was a lot of pieces to me actually unwinding all of this programming in my masculine. And so once I had the ayahuasca ceremony, and then I heard, hey, I've been coming for you. I've been searching for you. I've been calling for you. And I was like, I didn't hear you. Got my IUD out 2 weeks later.
Wow.
And then I actually took a few courses on hormones and female hormones. And I had to get to know my body again because I hadn't gotten my period in over 12 years. 12.
Wow.
So that was a really big shift for me. And then from there, I was just able to start to soften, and my conversations with people started to change. I was reading a lot of different types of books. And what did that look like for you?
Yeah, being more than like and I will say, like, I think the doing and the, all that, it rewarded me in a lot of ways, or like there was a lot of, and that was, I think I've read or seen a video somewhere too, where it's like an unspoken kind of addiction, like
Mm,
that achievement, or it's like a rewarded one,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
if I do this, I'm going to get the love, the acceptance, the praise, the job, the money, the da 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 da. And so for me, yeah, I guess, yeah, softening, feeling more. I think I had like, because I feel so deeply
Yes.
that I think it scared me for a while.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, kind of like what you said earlier is about reopening and expanding the capacity to feel,
Mm.
being okay with rest.
Yes.
I had, I had a friend who had not had her period for a long time too. I had
Hmm.
kind of gotten off birth control for a while. So I've been off, I think, about 10 years at least.
Beautiful.
Yeah, because I didn't feel, when I was on it, I didn't feel like my libido was like non-existent. I didn't feel like myself. So it's like, there's just something to that. I'm like, I gotta figure it out. Even if I do have a painful period, it's like, at least I can get used to that, or, um, to me, like lean into the purge, or like my body knowing what it's doing.
Yeah.
So rewriting a lot of stories.
Yes. Hmm.
And I will say it's like for me also like a balance. Like I create like for writing and stuff, outlines, for feminine to flow. Like
Hmm.
if I have like at least 20 minutes to write a day, or 20 to 60, then I can choose what I want to write. Um, yeah, and just kind of listen. I used to have like very strict rituals or
Yes.
like routines that I had to
Same.
do.
Yep.
And like if I
Yeah.
didn't do it, I felt bad about myself.
Hmm.
So now it's like, okay, well, how do I feel? What do I want to do in this
Yes.
moment? What will be the most nourishing?
Yes. Taking that pause to just ask ourselves and turn back inward of, hey, what do you feel like doing today? And
Yeah.
just in tuning into that. And that's actually a really hard thing to do until you take the time to learn yourself, because we've been so programmed to listen to what's going on and work from the outside in versus the inside out.
Yeah, I think I tried every way.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
Same.
man, drugs, all the
Everything.
different things.
Right? And
Yeah.
we all have.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh, shit, it does start at home here."
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Listen.
"Oh, I gotta give myself that love and acceptance and, validate myself," even though all that stuff feels good. Was that the only time that you sat with Aya?
That actually was the only time I've sat with
Okay.
Aya, and I've been reintegrating for the past couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't yet. So, but there's been like phases where I'm like, do I not?
Yeah.
I've had some powerful like mushroom journeys,
Beautiful. Yep.
and love, like definitely an advocate. I just wanted to ask that because I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like I've been hitting, the spiritual concepts or
Hmm.
the sex or even some like, now I'm like, I want to talk about, the psychedelic journeys too. So I'm glad that you
Yeah.
even like brought that up.
Yeah,
Cool.
they're tools for us,
Yeah.
That's how I see medicine. I call it medicine because that's how
Yeah.
I utilize it.
Yeah.
I call it a drug when it's an escape. That's how I define it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to escape something, then it's like, here, I want this drug to make me feel a way that I can't feel and I want to go there, versus using it as medicine. It's like, okay, how is it nourishing me? How do I want to cooperate with it? How do I want to coexist with it? And what do I want to learn?
Yeah. I
The
like that.
intention's important.
Yeah, I like that distinction. And I feel like, social media can be a drug. I feel like there's so
Yes.
many different
Mhm.
food, all kinds of
Mhm.
different things, and not just like the things we typically think of.
Mhm.
I wanted to take a peek over here too and see. Okay, yeah. Did you notice a shift between like your communication styles
Mm.
whenever you switch from your masculine energy to
Yes.
or leading more with your feminine?
Yes, yes. And the one book I would recommend people starting with is Keys to the Kingdom by
Oh,
Alison Armstrong.
hmm.
It is spectacular. It talks about the development stages of men. And that to me gave a lot of insight. It's told in a fiction story. And so it's about this married couple, and it talks about the feminine aspect and coming from the wife and the masculine from the husband. And then all the different stages that he's going through, and then how the woman can support him, how she could best communicate with him. So whether that is in partnership or whether that is in friendship, I found so much softening through that. For example, one of the things is after a man is done talking, wait 10 seconds before you say anything.
Ooh.
Straight up 10 seconds. And you will find 9 times out of 10, he has more to say. But what is the natural response of a woman? Look, we are very proactive. We are very intelligent. And so what do we get excited about? Contributing, relating, sometimes fixing, nurturing. And what does that look like? A quick response, usually, a
Mm,
quick reaction, or it's okay, or coddling. And oftentimes people want to just be heard. And so one of the
mm-hmm.
questions I love to ask is, do you want to be heard, helped, or held?
Mm,
And so usually with a man, usually he just wants to be heard. And so when I wait that 10 seconds, I oftentimes find him coming back, whoever I'm talking with, being like, what's your take on it? And then I
Mm.
respond. Otherwise, it's really good for them to be heard because often men might not be able to go as deep with other men. So if they're comfortable with you as a woman and they are opening up to the softness that they feel with you, they usually have a lot to say, but they don't know that they have a lot to say. Some men do, but oftentimes we speak up way too fast before they finish what they're saying or what
Mhm.
comes to mind. And it's really beautiful to experience a man thinking and just kind of like pausing. And he's usually still in his own mind and he's not looking at you. And you just kind of you hold the space and then he'll start saying more. And it's like, wow, beautiful.
Mm.
It's so beautiful.
I love that. I feel like it
Hmm.
would be more receptive too if he asks you for your input.
Right.
Or, I mean, I know it's with me if I
Yeah.
even do it. I'm
Yeah.
like, if I, like,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on it? Versus like just jumping to like
Yeah.
that solution or input. I mean, I've created the space for you to provide that insight. So
Yeah.
that's cool. I like that question.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just gonna take a little peek at my notes. I know I had so many.
We have a big range of stuff that we were
Yeah.
talking about before. So.
Ooh, okay. This one just talks about is there a simple sentence or question like that you can use, whether it's with friendships or relationships, to choose connection over defensiveness.
Oh,
And maybe there's been a rupture, maybe there hasn't been, or maybe I know also you've spoken to the importance about like curiosity, or so like
mhm.
how to maybe shift.
I would always it's the curiosity piece. I just always go back to a question. So if I'm feeling disconnected and I want to feel more connected, then I always turn to just trying to understand. We all come from different backgrounds and experiences. And one of my favorite ways, especially with, you know, holidays are coming up and going back for the holidays, usually there's a big miscommunication or disconnect between yourself and your family or your cousins or maybe childhood friends because now you're in two different stages of life. You're having very different experiences. And so when there's a disconnect, then what I do is I just lead with curiosity and I ask another question.
Mm.
And I'm just like, what do you mean by that? Or, what experience did you have that formed that perspective? Or and it's so genuine because oftentimes if I'm taking something personally or I feel a disconnect, it's just a projection of either my feelings or their feelings. And so let's just stay grounded and let me know a little bit more. And the most intriguing story or perspective or lesson might come out of that. And it's just helped me carry a lot of peace in my
Hmm.
relationships, which I'm so grateful for. And it leads to a lot of beautiful conversation versus defensiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that point about that we all come from different backgrounds and perspectives. And
Hmm.
even like in those people that knew us in like earlier times or phases of our lives,
Yes.
I feel that a lot of times that we can hold people to past versions of themselves or they can hold us to past versions of ourselves.
Yes.
And so like not giving us like, or being present or giving us the space to be who we are today,
Hmm.
especially if there's been some like growth and transformation.
Yes.
So I think the curiosity piece is so key.
Yeah.
And then, what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, that reminded me of this question right here about like projections. Yeah, it's like, how do we learn to see our partner or friends or family members beyond our stories or projections and allow ourselves to like truly be seen?
Yeah. Oh, that's a loaded one because being seen for me means that I need to feel safe. And I also need to have the capacity within myself to express in that way. So, for example, when I first moved to Austin, I moved 16 times in the first 11 months I was here. I was house sitting
Okay.
and I was going
I'm like
around.
16, you're like a little
It was
pinball.
crazy.
Yeah.
It was wild. It was very ungrounding. But at that time I came into Austin knowing that I wanted to explore the different parts and knowing that I wanted to be here. And with that, I was like, let me try out a couple different parts of the city for a couple of
Mm.
months. And the 2 months turned into 11 months. And so after moving around a lot and getting grounded in my space, what I realized is I did not have the capacity to show up fully and be seen because I was in
Mm.
survival mode,
Mm.
because I was in my hyper masculine trying to figure out where am I going to go next or where's the next place. And there are all these pieces where I didn't have any spaciousness to allow myself to be seen by others. So the past couple of months, once I moved into my space, it's been beautiful to be witnessed. I've been able to show up online more because I now have the capacity to allow myself to be seen.
I
So,
love that.
yeah.
Yeah, then how do we, are there any tips that you would give to switch or to regulate the nervous system to go from like survival to the ability to feel safe? Or especially, I guess a lot of people are like going to be traveling, going back for the holidays,
Yeah.
again, coming up in a little bit,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
depending on when this comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, just any like techniques that you use or just would recommend for peeps, like
Mhm.
that could be easier to have in their pocket to regulate or
Yes.
self-regulate or self-soothe.
So one of them is actually what I'm doing right now. And to regulate my nervous system, I always just close my eyes and I take a couple deep breaths and I breathe all the way down into my feet. And I just
Mm.
make sure I feel my feet, because when I can feel my feet, it means I breathed deep enough to get fully into my body versus just breathing right here and it's staying up here. And that's when your heart starts racing more and your breath gets a lot shorter when when you're up here versus a full deep breath through your body. And I do close my eyes because there's so much stimulus,
Mm.
and I want to make sure that I can be centered and grounded in my energy. And then one of my big philosophies and strengths, I would say, that I've come to find over the past several months is my ability to see everything that happens to me as a lesson for the betterment of myself. And so if something's triggering me, or something common we all likely experience is road rage. And it's like, instead of, right? It's like I had that on the way here and
I had it after yoga today.
people are just beeping their horns and racing around and all that kind of stuff. And I used to get really triggered by that. And now when I do, I'm like, oh, I just turn to them, I'm like, oh, I hope everything's okay. Because it's not about me, it's for me. So
Mm.
what am I supposed to do? How is that for me? Well, I am supposed to, in that moment, as I'm driving nice and safely and I'm not the one beeping and I'm not the one racing, I'm supposed to actually be giving love to the other person for whatever reason.
Mm.
And then in certain scenarios, when I am moving through life and I'm triggered by something that someone says, I'm like, oh, maybe that was something that was a mirror that I needed to see so I can focus on that later. I can journal on that. I can meditate on that. I can go for a walk and clear my head on that. That's still something it just informs what's going on in the body or in your life. And so I call it it's my perpetual positivity. And so whenever something happens, it's like, just do that like a couple times a day, or just for one day, just try whenever you find something making your heart race or frustrating you, just turning it to, what is it supposed to teach me? Or how can I have more compassion or empathy for that person if it was because of someone else? And oftentimes you will learn something new about yourself. So it just all comes back to self-awareness and feeling, you know?
Mhm.
So it's a little bit of a reframe, but it's been super effective for me.
I think that's been like one of the key like pillars of my life too. I could
Mm.
totally resonate that. But I will
Mhm.
admit, I did have a little road rage after yoga this
100%.
morning.
Hey, we're not perfect. Like,
Yeah,
we do
yeah,
our
no,
best, but it's
yeah.
like 90% of the time we can like reframe. I mean, I have my moments too,
Yes.
but I'm like, most of
Yeah.
the time I'm pretty good. And I'm like, okay, Lex, just breathe and,
Yeah.
settle back down in your
Yeah.
body or give them love. Like,
Yeah,
whatever.
true. I know,
Mhm.
like, literally, they'll leave in, like, the parking lot of yoga this morning, and there's like, honk, honk.
Mhm.
And I was like, what the hell is it? And
Right?
then, so I joked with a friend one time. I was like, sometimes it's like, namaste.
No. Namaste.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, but that's like sometimes like that's where it will get me too. And I'm like, oh, why there?
Mm-hmm. Why there? Why not? Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that's like something that I don't know if I got it from my mom or just
Mm.
like the love of stories, or like a belief that no matter how it ends up, it'll always be a good story.
Mm.
And if it's not, it's just not done yet. Or like always, like I just always, even if I'm in like the heart of a trial or a heartbreak or grief or something, it's
Mm.
like, even if I can't see it now, like I trust
Mm.
that all things work out for good.
100%.
And like I will find it. Just maybe it might be like, however long down the way.
Yeah.
And then we always have the ability to like retrospectively look back
Yes.
and say like, hey, this is how it worked for me. I'm going to assign this meaning to it. At least
Yeah.
that's how it worked. My
Yeah.
life is better because I do that.
Right? It's
Yeah.
like it's a really good practice that I also like to implement is whenever something good happens to me, I just start to trace back a little bit.
Mm.
And I'm in that moment, I'm like, "Ooh, this happiness or this bliss or this joy feels really good in my body." And then again, I close my eyes and I just take that time and oftentimes I'll remove myself. If something really good happens and say I'm with a group of friends, I will remove myself and go to the bathroom and make sure I feel it
Mm.
in my body and say, "How did I get to this point?" And it's like, "Oh, it was that wrong turn that one day and then I popped my tire, which seemed to be bad at the time, but the person who actually pulled over to help me then became someone who connected me to this group of people. And here I am with the people who make me feel the most full in my life." Like you can actually trace it back. So just
Mhm.
taking that moment to be with it and reflect back, that reflection is the most important. So then we can trust whatever happens is for the best moving forward.
I love
But it
that.
takes a lot of intentionality. So
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
mean,
people don't take the time to do that.
yeah, but a couple minutes. I love
Couple
that
minutes.
point
It's
though, like
easy.
to ask
Yeah.
that question, or like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Or like what possible, mishap led here. It kind of reminds me of a story that I was in Bali in 2018 and like what the shaman guide, Lou, was talking to us about how Americans complain so much.
Mm.
And like even I had even found myself that morning, like oh, it's so fucking early. And,
Mhm.
just like, I was like, oh man, like there's something to this. But she's like, the Balinese way is like, if there's traffic, maybe it's saving us from an accident down the way. Maybe it's, preventing something even in like going forward in the future too,
Yes.
or in a nonlinear sense. And I was like,
Yeah.
I really love that perspective as well.
Mhm.
It's like
Yeah.
all those little tweaks.
All the little things that happened to me the other day at the gym, actually. I dropped my keys somewhere and I got in my car. I'm like, "Wait, what the heck?" Or I got to my car and I had to go back and retrace and I had things I had to do and places I need to be. And I found myself actually walking back to the gym. It was a beautiful reflection in that moment. And I was like, and I said it out loud and I kind of caught myself off guard and I was like, "Alexis, you're being saved from something." Or you're supposed to there's a timeline that needs to be met where I'm slowing you down and I'm pausing you. So go look for the key and within 3 or 4 minutes, I found it and I was right back on my way and I just sat in my car and I was like, "Oh, thank you for that." Whatever the thank you was for, but I just paused. I'm like, I'm not in control. And that's a big part of what we talked about at the beginning with the masculine and feminine. I'm not in control, but
Hmm.
I could do the best I can to show up as my best and with a smile and with patience and with trust and with optimism.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That reminds me, like, do you find now that you're more acting like, or, being, I guess, more
Mhm.
from your
Mhm.
feminine,
Mhm.
that you rush less?
Yes.
Okay. Like, that's,
100%. It's
because-
beautiful.
yeah,
It's beautiful. Like, number 1, I think it's really important to be prompt and respect other people's time. So,
me
if
too.
you are gonna be
Absolutely.
late, communicate and, like,
Hmm.
let them know. Thankfully, nowadays, at least for me, if someone's late, I'm like, I always have a message to respond to, a phone call to make, a piece of content I wanna edit, like, whatever, so I don't mind, while at the same time, it's out of respect, you know? But I do find myself being so much more patient and easeful, especially if it's like, "Hey, we need to go run these errands," something that doesn't have an exact time limit, but it's something I anticipated. It's like, "Okay, let's ground ourselves, let's make sure we have a nourishing bite to eat, and then we'll be on our way." Like, let's not rush. Let's not rush through the day. Let's not rush to get these 10 activities done. We got a Christmas tree the other day, and it's like, "Hey, let's not rush to get there." Like, I
Mm.
was eating, my roommate was eating, and then we're like, "Okay, does everyone feel complete? Cool, now let's go." And so it's just a good moment of presence and slowing down so you can enjoy that moment more instead of checking things off of a to-do list.
No, that
Yeah.
I found that too. Like if I slow down, it seems to elongate the present moment. You know
Yes.
what I mean? Like I'm like, or like
So much more
I'm like,
juicy. I'm
or I
like,
have, yeah, I
yes.
have like more time because
Yes.
I caught myself this morning. I'd gone to yoga and like I came back and like I was a little bit running a little bit behind.
Mhm,
I'm right on
mhm,
time, but I'm like behind. So I
mhm.
caught myself like, I'm like, take a second, Kristen, just breathe.
Yes.
Because when you just do one thing at a time, not like try to put your shoes on and feed my dog at the same time.
Yep,
I'm like, do this.
yep.
He'll be fine. Do
Mhm,
that. But that's one thing. It's like, yeah, the slowness that I find to, circle back to your question too about like
mm,
some of the things that have shifted. And I do
mm,
find myself like sometimes going back and forth.
mm.
Yeah, I want to see here. Well, I guess like, how do you feel about talking about like polarity in relationships? I know like we talked about
Love.
masculine and feminine.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Within ourselves. Cause I know there's, just something with me. If I'm around like a very present, solid masculine man, it makes me want to melt. I'm like, oh, I feel safe.
yes,
And that's softening.
yes, it's
So
beautiful.
any direction or anything you want to add to like that dynamic, I'm cool to venture down.
There's so much with masculine and feminine polarity. Um, what I always turn to is doing the best that I can in my feminine to enlighten, encourage, empower the man to be more in his masculine.
Mm.
So again, being when I'm around a man, again, depending on the relationship, if we're talking about maybe more of a potential relationship, like an intimate partnership, then I always just like to have my body be really relaxed and also like leaning in. And again, like all of those body language cues and taking my time when I talk. So I consciously slow down my talking. And then I give him time after he speaks. And then one of the biggest things that I don't think women understand that lights up a man, I've gotten so much feedback about this, is our enthusiasm. Okay? You see the man, get freaking excited about it. He does something or like says something, and if it's something that actually like sparks some excitement within you, express that. Don't try to be all cool and tone it down. Like men love that reaction, that response. Why? The polarity. They're usually very grounded and calm. You usually don't see a man jumping for joy. You might, but oftentimes you probably don't. But when you have that and you play off of that, that's the polarity. Like he wants that, kind of like puppy dog excitement or the excitement from the feminine. And if it's something that truly lights you up, then that's an embodiment and that's an expression of yourself. And that's sexy to a man.
Mm.
That's because you're being you and you're not trying to just be so like polished and pretty. That's fun. Like there's certain aspects that a man wants that excitement. He wants that nourishment. He wants that affirmation of like, you just said something funny or wow, we're really aligned here and I hit it on the head. Or so it's really affirming him in his actions and what he maybe set up for you to do that night for a date or just even his pure existence. How happy do you get and how good does it feel with the excitement that your dog has for you when you walk in the door?
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
So you don't think, and I'm not saying act like a dog, but like you don't think when your man walks in the house and you're doing something and you put everything down and you're like, honey, I'm so happy to see you. How was your day? And you run over and you give him a hug. That's your puppy dog. Like
Yeah.
be excited, acknowledge, have him feel like he's there and that he's an exciting pillar of your day or that moment. That's all it takes. It's very small. But again, polarity, like balance that out. If he's feeling one of my favorite things to do, especially in a relationship or with a dynamic with a friend too, and you're walking into maybe a night that's going to be very intentional or a dinner or whatever, if you feel like the energy's off, say, hey, at a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at? And he's like, hey, out of 10 being like, I'm really good, super present in my body here, ready, versus 1 is not at all. Hey, I'm actually feeling a 6. Oh, okay, cool. So you're not really feeling that. Okay, so what I have to be to balance out that 10 is either a 4 or I could be the full 10 so I can help him meet at that. Like I can increase a 6 to a 10. So it's always asking the other person where they're at to know how much you need to compensate. If he says, "Hey, I'm a 2," I know I got to show up as an 8. So it's really just leveling with the person and their emotions and where they're at so that you can level with each other's energy and also balance and recalibrate.
I like that.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good that I have like gone on 2 dates with someone recently, and
Mm.
he had made a date or the plan for date 2 while on date 1. And I can't remember if I said it then or like afterwards, but I was like, I love that you did that. I
Yes.
was like, because I was like, masculine energy, like a
Yes.
plan, and like set a date on the calendar.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I absolutely love that.
Yeah. And
And yeah.
acknowledging that in the moment, they're
Hmm.
like, "Oh, you have to affirm people." What as women, we get complimented from each other and we're like, "Oh, go girl." Like we hype each other up so much. As men, they don't get that as much. So when you see something you like on a man, I'm like, I always compliment. I'm like, "Dude, you make that shirt look great. Like that looks amazing on you. Wow, I really like how you just ordered for us. Or I really like how you just set that up. Wow, now I get to like not even have to worry about it. And I'm so excited to show up again." Like starting to verbalize and communicate these things that you might be thinking or feeling is so important. And that's been one of the biggest shifts in helping me gain closer relationships to men because they don't hear it. We think they do, they
Hmm.
don't,
Yeah.
So it's a really beautiful gift for them too.
That is cool, especially if, so, like the more of the positive or like feedback, and if
Hmm.
you want more of it,
Yep.
give the feedback.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And then especially like, if you're gonna, I know that I've heard like women being nagging or something if something is going wrong or stray or awry.
Hmm.
Is there any like communication tips or techniques that you have to not be that, or like instead of like calling forth versus, I guess,
Mm.
like that nagging poking kind of energy.
Mhm.
You know what I
So,
mean? Or
yeah,
like, yeah.
yeah. So when a woman so if a man does some things to say, what an example of like, "Hey, honey, I asked you to take out the trash, and you're not taking out the trash, so you wanna start nagging?" Or give me an
Yeah, something
example.
like that. Like, so, yeah, it can be something as simple as the trash, or sometimes it's not really about the trash, but it's the,
Correct.
but,
Uh,
but so we can use the trash,
yeah,
or yeah, miss something else, or miss like a something else,
yeah.
or
So I find as women, something that we can be programmed or, that maybe has been instilled in us unintentionally along the way is setting men up to fail.
mm,
So, for example, your anniversary, right? Your anniversary's coming up, date night's coming up, and you know it's coming up. So, what is a common response? At least a common response for me used to be like, oh, test him and see, like, did he save it in his phone? Is he going to remember it was our anniversary? Is he going to remember that we're meeting Sally and Jim tonight for
mm,
dinner? Or is he going to forget and he's going to come home? We just have these like tests. It's a natural thing that we've picked up, I think, with watching reality TV and just playing games. And for me, I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore. So when I
mm-mm,
started to be in those moments, what I did was actually set the man up for success. So, for example, your anniversary is tomorrow and he has a lot going on at work, or he seems to have a lot of different things going on. And you're like, and you're feeling intuitively, he might forget that tomorrow's our anniversary. And you're over here, on the other hand, like preparing stuff or whatever. So, what do you do instead of allowing him to lose, preparing him to win?
mm,
Then you're like, honey, I am so excited for our anniversary tomorrow. I can't believe it's been a year already. Oh my God, it's been the most blissful year of my life. I'm just really excited to be with you tomorrow and to be present. And I have a couple things planned. How are you feeling? How does your work schedule look? Whatever. So what did I do in that? I not only reminded him tomorrow that it was our anniversary, but I did it in a way that expressed my feeling and how excited I am, getting him also excited. So if he forgot, then he's like, oh shit, okay, well, for us tomorrow. But then I'm like, hey, what do you actually feel like doing too? Because what is a relationship? It's a partnership, it's a
mm,
collaboration. You're in this together. You're a team. It's not one or the other. It's not tit versus tat. It's not you forgot, so you lose. Like, we're both trying to win here. We're both trying to lift each other up. So you really get to prepare him to win alongside you. And he might come forward and be like, wow, babe, I'm so sorry. I actually completely forgot. I've had so much going on at work. I would really love some time for dinner. If that's something you could take care of. Or maybe he's like, oh my God, babe, that's amazing. I would actually love to plan a dinner for us. Like let him win. Let him win.
I freaking love that. It's also like, to me, it goes kind of like not playing games,
Yes.
and kind of goes back to, yeah, this. I think something that you mentioned earlier, it kind of reminded me of like, okay, if you like the enthusiasm piece,
Mm-hmm.
like if you're going to be authentically excited, like holding it in is not being authentic.
Right?
It's reserving yourself.
Yes.
And then to me, it's like, if we continue to wear these masks, will we really be able to accept the love from our partner or from someone else if we're doing that because we're not being ourself?
100%. And then what do we want as women? We're like, well, I want a man to do this and I want a man to do that. And I was just talking to a friend about this yesterday. What is that doing when we're saying, I want all of these things? We're likely not focusing on what we're actually providing and to be that person that's worthy of receiving that.
Mm,
So it's like, okay, if you want a man that gives you that love and, sets up dates and plans these things and takes care of you and allows you to be in your feminine, what does that mean? Being your feminine. So what does that being in your feminine mean? Support him, use enthusiasm, like help plan, be a team player, like do these things that are in your feminine so it empowers him to be in his masculine versus emasculating him.
mm. Yeah, because then I could only see where that would be like
So sad.
a direction straight for resentment,
Mm-hmm.
or not feeling valued or
100%.
respected.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then, then maybe intimacy drops. I don't know.
Everything. It's a
Yeah.
domino effect. It truly
Yeah.
is. Yeah. So it's all these small things at the beginning
Yeah.
that,
To what? Be right? That if you're testing them,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
And it's like, does it
what's the
really matter
value
that
there?
much? It's
Yeah.
not. Yeah.
Mm-mm. Okay. I'm going to take a quick peek over here and just take a little bit at little glance at time. We're doing good.
Good.
Okay, let's see here. Let's see here. Um, ooh, yeah. How do we rebuild trust after miscommunication or rupture? Or yeah.
It's a great one. Okay. So let me ask you, what makes you trust someone?
Um, Probably sometimes I do it a little bit, I give trust until, it's been like, I guess what, trampled on
Mhm.
or been proven otherwise.
Mhm.
Sometimes I tend to do that. Or, if they're showing up or they say they're going to show up or doing what they say they're going to do, that's
Mhm.
a big one for me. Cause I guess I used to be a big words of affirmations gal. Then I
Mm.
was like, no, I like the action behind it
Yes,
because I don't
absolutely.
want someone to just promise me the world or
100%.
tell me all the I love yous without, it being grounded in like that action or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So when I have experienced moments of distrust, communication is so key. And once again, what we're talking about, like having a regulated nervous system and staying grounded. So it's not about lashing out, it's about truly speaking to them and letting them know, hey, this thing that you did, it actually broke a lot of trust because for me, and this takes a lot of self awareness. So that's why building trust and building safety takes a lot of the inner work and it takes a lot of understanding of what it meant to you so that you can articulate that to them. So, for example, yeah, sharing with someone, "Hey, this actually led to a bit of distrust. This is why. This is why it led to distrust." In the past, what's happened to me is, for example, I had a parent that always said that they would do something. They always said that they would come to my sporting events, and then they were never there. So when you said tonight that you would show up to my podcast feature or my speech or at my friend's birthday, and then you didn't show up, that that developed a lot of mistrust and it created a rupture because that was something I dealt with growing up. So what would actually help me, and then we come up with a solution and we let them know because we think people are mind readers. They're not. So what would actually help me to rebuild this trust would be as you go along, like let me know if you can commit to something, then say it and commit to it. If there's something where you think you can show up but you're not sure, also communicate that. So it's not 100% yes, but it's a, hey, honey, I actually have a project, or hey, friend, I have this going on earlier in the day. It ends at 5. I know your thing starts at 5:30. I might get stuck in a little bit of traffic. So I'm going to do my best to be there on time. And if I'm not there on time, I'm still going to be there. Do you see how that's a little different than,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I'm going to be there? No, it's letting them know. Let them know a little more information so that they can trust you. And then for me to you, for example, I need to let you know what trust looks like to me because trust is very subjective.
Mm.
It's not objective. There's no black and white in trust because, again, we're all coming from different backgrounds and different experiences of what trust looked like to get and then also to rupture.
I mean, girl, I was like, whoa, I just had a powerful like awareness come in.
Give it to me.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
I was
Tell
like, oh
me.
my God, it almost makes me want to cry.
Yes.
Yeah, it's about a past relationship
Mm.
and a moment or like because about our upbringings and experiences like, oh my God, yeah, it's like, okay, how many times did it touch on like my dad breaking my trust because he didn't show up or because of the XYZ or forgot a birthday or this. And
Mm.
so whenever an ex of mine did not when I finished like the first draft of my book and I was like, oh my God, I did I'm like, this is the thing I've wanted to do my entire life.
No.
And then he didn't want to go out and celebrate with me. He wanted to do something different or it was more important. So
Mm.
now I'm like, oh shit, the reason why it was also so important was like, oh, it triggered like a wound or like a hurt spot from my dad. Like,
Crazy.
yeah.
Crazy.
And so I'm like, oh, I was like, oh, wow. But I mean,
Yeah.
that was like a very pivotal point for me. And I was like, in that moment, I was like, this relationship is over. Yeah.
And
And
if you
so,
realize that on the spot, like what, okay, so going back to that moment, or maybe something moving forward, if you
yeah.
have that awareness in that moment, is that something in which you think that you would try to communicate and work through to rectify and bring awareness to? Or do you think that's something that you're like, oh, it's not going to work?
Oh, well, now I think it was probably like a cumulative, like there's a building of things like,
Of course.
that, and
Of
then,
courh.
and then when it was that,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And when you're choosing to go out drinking with your buddies instead, I'm like, okay, all right, I
100%.
see it felt like I see where I'm valued or where I'm
Yeah.
placed in like the scheme of things.
Yeah.
And if you don't kind of think that you kind of thought that I was going to be here regardless, then
Hmm.
maybe, I think that was like a very tipping point. But now, yeah, I would say, especially I love your distinction about communicating what trust looks like to us. I don't know if I've done that with a partner before or a
Hmm.
friend, like, hey, this is what it looks like to me or what resonates as trust. And then, like, I think of also like attachment styles. I'm like,
Yes.
okay, when this happens, sometimes I get a little fluttery or anxious because,
Yeah.
disorganized. And then, but yeah, I feel like I could be able to communicate that, or even just like the not full send 100%, I'm going to be here.
Mhm.
And now looking back, it's like, oh, I could have communicated, I'm inching closer towards this like completion or first draft.
Mm.
Like, can we celebrate or are we going to, instead
Yes.
of assume
Yes.
that he would be just as enthusiastic to celebrate with me.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all those micro moments that adds up to
Hmm.
the big thing. Like, we think that it's just that one time, and it's like, we could have been dropping breadcrumbs the whole time and preparing him. And I mean, how does when you're younger and maybe you're a kid and you ask your parents, you're like, "Hey, I really wanna, like, go on this trip," or whatever. Maybe after 20 times of bringing it up, the next time you're ready for a trip with your parents like, "Oh, maybe this location," and it's the location you've been breadcrumbing, you know what I mean? So just but again, it's just about supporting each other and not leaving anything to chance in terms of miscommunication or just, like, a miss, you know?
Hmm.
We don't want a massive miss where it was like, "I had no idea." When that means throughout the time, there wasn't an effort to mutually understand, but rather an assumption that you would. And we're not in each other's bodies. And that
Hmm.
comes the same with intimacy. You know, we're talking about relationships and intimate relationships, and we can't leave it up to chance what turns us on or what we desire in date nights or what quality time looks like for us. We need to communicate that. Hey, hon, I've had a really, really long day. What would be super nourishing for me right now after you're finishing up with work, if it's within like the next 30 minutes, I'd really appreciate to just like be held for a while. Maybe we can make some tea, you know, or going for a walk would really make me feel good. Is that something that you can support me with? Like, how would he know? How would he know? He
Yeah.
might just be there being you like, and you're really frustrated or you're really sad, and he doesn't know what to do. So maybe he just leaves you alone. Again, how is he brought up? Has anyone ever brought this to his awareness where he knows to lean in or ask you what you need, or is it just a oh, it's that time of the month. I better leave her alone. You know, all these programs. So you don't know until you start working together and getting to know each other in that way.
Seems like getting to clear on what you're desiring or what you're nourishing or what you need in the moment, and then as simple as like making a request,
Yes.
and then maybe having like if he's not able to, or
Hmm.
then maybe having some kind of negotiation with like,
Yeah.
okay, if we can't do that, what about this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Versus,
and men want to provide.
yeah.
Biologically, they are providers. So they want to provide something that makes you happier, better, safer, more grounded, to feel good. So if it's not what you can offer, then he's like, "Hey, I actually don't have this, but I could do that. How does that feel?" You know, but it does take two, you know. So it's not just if one partner is trying this and the other one's not communicating, then it's like getting to a place where you're both hearing each other and feeling each other so that you can get to a solution together. So it takes time, but
Hmm. A
yeah.
lot of awareness.
So much awareness. So much
Yeah, we're not.
awareness. We're not.
It's like we
We're
need to
not
like how these communication skills, or even to like sometimes own our desires, or
100%.
yeah. Any other tips or like for deepening intimacy or and communication
Mm.
as it pertains to partnerships, relationships, that sort of vibe?
Do you have any pain points from your past that I can
Well, I mean, the one that comes up that's kind of similar to like the different upbringings is because um, he didn't understand why birthdays were so important to me.
Mm.
And his birthdays weren't important to him, or they weren't made it such a big deal, like for in his family. And for me, it was like the one day a year where it was like my day.
Yes.
And that one year my dad forgot my birthday, and so it was just like I wanted to feel special on that day. And
Mm.
we used to have like little different arguments. He always wanted to plan like a Cinco de Mayo party,
Mm.
and I'm like, "Mom, May 2nd." I'm like, "Can we not have like something one year that that is for me?"
Yeah.
um, and so I mean, there's that, or
Yeah.
yeah,
I
just
it just
and
goes
also
back.
I'm a different person now than I was then, but yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, it's speaking your desires, right? And
yeah.
we need to understand what our desires are, which this was just recent for me. My friend was like, we go through this exercise of what are you grateful for and what do
Mm,
you desire and what are your wins, what are your brags. And when it comes to desires, the first couple times we went through this exercise, it was really hard for me. Like, I was sitting on it and I was like, wow, I actually don't know. I don't know. The what? How do I not know what my desires are? And it just showed me that I was responding and reacting to a lot of things in my life. I was taking all these inputs and I was like, okay, produce, 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 output. But how about the input of what is my desire so that that could be brought out to the world and communicated with the world? So it takes like, if you're like, hey, I know birthdays are important to me and this is my desire. If you know that, then it comes to communication. Hey, babe, I just want to let you know something about me, and like make it, again, make it fun, make it playful.
Mhm.
Something about me that you should know
Yeah.
is that I love birthdays. So I don't know if you share the same sentiment. Is it important to you? Oh, yes, no, maybe. Okay, cool. They're really important to me. And so what I love on my birthday is it's really close to Cinco de Mayo. And so sometimes they can overflow into one another, and again, a different chapter of
Yeah.
your life where I was maybe more surrounded by drinking.
Yeah.
But it's like what I really love to do is I like to wear a crown, and I like to be brought out to eat, and I like to be around my friends, and I like them to affirm me and remind me of who I am, or whatever, whatever feels good for that year in that moment. Just letting them know, hey, before my birthdays, what I want to do, if it's cool with you, like a month before, I'm going to start to tell you what I'm feeling into for a theme that year. What is my embodiment? Where am I at? Is that something that you'd be open to helping me celebrate? Because it's
Mm.
really, really important to me, and it makes me feel seen and it makes me feel celebrated. Because growing up, my dad forgot my birthday, and I realized how much it meant to me when I felt so sad and so forgotten on that day.
Mhm.
So like bringing them back into that experience, and it doesn't need to be heavy, it doesn't need to be dramatic. It's just an information, and that helps him. And then he needs to come back around and be like, "Baby, I'm meeting you at this excitement. I would love to celebrate you, however you want to be celebrated." And if not, then maybe reevaluate what that dynamic looks like,
Yeah.
because you know wanting a partner to give to you how you want to receive is very important. That is long-term happiness, that's long-term loyalty, that's long-term feeling wanted and committed to and desired.
Yeah, I feel like that brings up the love languages
Oh,
piece. Yeah,
yes.
because like if we
Mhm.
communicate, because I'd be like, I would, spoil you all on your birthday. So it's like me in a way communicating what some of like a love language or desire may be through that versus just explicitly or directly saying it. Because I
Yeah.
feel like we can give and receive love in different love languages, but if we
Mhm.
don't talk about it, then we may just be like two ships passing in.
100%.
you know.
And there was actually I had I when I first came to Austin, like throughout the past year of my dating experience, the constant feedback that I got from a man was appreciating how clear I was
Mm.
about where I was at or what my intention was. Because a lot of the times men just want clarity. Hey, look, right now, I'm actually not into this for long term. I'm looking to date because dating is actually a mirror for me to get to know myself better. So, right now, that's the chapter I'm in. If this turns into something more long term, amazing. But if you are looking for a longer term commitment, I just want to let you know where I'm at. And if this is something that you're willing to commit to in the meantime, this is where I'm at. You can make your decision. Clarity. He
Mhm.
knows what to do. Balls in his court. He can make a decision. But if we're like, hey, like, I'm excited to date. And then he's like, oh, awesome. Like maybe his love language is quality time. And then you keep spending time with him and you're trying to communicate, oh, quality time is my love language too. Well, that doesn't give any clarity as to whether or not you're ready to move forward in a relationship,
Mhm.
So really speaking where you're at and in your situation, no one can deny you or fight you on your truth.
Mm.
I was talking to a girlfriend the other day and she was like, hey, how do you get your previously intimate relationships to be now friendships? And she was like, how did you make that transition between like being intimate and being in that space versus where you are now? And I was like, I just show up with my truth and I just let them know, hey, right now, this has been amazing. And like I affirm everything that's been beautiful genuinely about our connection, and this is my truth right now. So my truth right now is I'm looking for more time to dive into myself. I just want a little bit more time to do that in my life. And I find that a lot of my free time is going to us, which is amazing. But right now it's really important for me to turn inward. And I'm also just not feeling the same way. And if I'm not 100% about my emotions towards you, that's not fair to you. That's not fair to me. But I'm just letting you know where I'm at.
Mhm.
Can you deny me my truth?
Mm-mm.
And oftentimes, what do we do? Hey, you're taking up a lot of my time. I don't want this anymore. I don't feel the same way. This happened and this happened. Like you're bringing in all these negatives and all these things that someone else wants to become defensive about because we don't want to be the bad guy. No one wants to feel like crap after getting out of a relationship that at one point was likely very juicy and very fun and very beautiful. That's the same with friendships. Hey, right now, I don't really feel like we're aligning. on the same page. I've had to do that with friendships. Like, I can't actually give you the time that you're desiring right now. So I just want to let you know where I'm at and set the expectation for our friendship as well. Like, I'm not able to respond to you as soon as you text me. It might take me a couple days because this is my focus. And that, just like letting people know. And if you stay in your truth, then people can't deny you your truth. And
That's
that's what
beautiful.
it's been so key for me.
Yeah.
So,
How long, have you been communicating like this, or is there something that instilled it
mm,
in you to, like studying or, upbringing or, you know?
yeah. Um, in my early 20s, it was my first corporate job out of college. I moved to Central Virginia. And that job, I quickly realized was not what I wanted at all. And it scared me because it was the first time in my life I was completely moved away from home, middle of nowhere. My best friend was a 65-year-old retired psychotherapist. I had no idea she was a retired psychotherapist. I just thought she was a really sweet older lady because she did a lot of photography. So 1 month into our friendship, I'm like, oh, you've been in photography your whole life, like all these kinds of things. And she's like, no, I'm actually retired in my practice and all that kind of stuff. I was like, you've been psychoanalyzing me this whole time? Like, what? But ended up turning into a beautiful friendship for the next 2 years where I just learned so much. She kickstarted me. Like, that's where I started my personal development journey because the questions that she asked me and how she broke things down for me and how she was so safe and patient and compassionate towards me and anything I was curious about, tough times I was going through, she was there. And then I started my personal development journey and I started reading a lot of books. And then I just kept practicing what I was learning. So whenever I would learn something, at that time I was really into social media, similar to now, but a different chapter. And every single time I learned something from my book, I would go on my story, I would go on my page and I would share it. And then I would also apply it to those I interacted with that day. So I played a little bit of a game, but every single time I learned something or I heard something that I liked, I would write it down and then I would go through and each day I would like practice one of those things, practice one of those things. After a while, you start attracting people who communicate well. You start attracting people who connect seamlessly with you. And then again, you're able to backtrack. Well, why are we connecting so well? Why are we communicating so well? Oh, because of all these practices that I did at this time. So it's been years. I mean, it's been well over 12 years that I've been practicing stuff this way. But whenever I do, I find new ways to communicate it. So stuff like this, even when I'm interacting in person and I'm with girlfriends or I'm with guy friends, I just, I'm very certain to call out what it is just so they can also learn. And it also helps me reflect in that moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It makes me think too of like the reflection of the work that we've done. And it sounds like you actually did like the integration piece. Cause I
Mm,
know that it can be
hmm
easy to just like read a bunch of
hmm
personal development books
hmm
without like taking the action or like implementing it into one's life. And I feel like gamifying or making it playful is so important too.
Important.
It just kind of gave me like a moment to like reflect. I'm like, yeah, I really like this person that has shown up in my sphere. And it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, okay, if I want to, make a list of the qualities and traits of the person that, I want to have in a partner or
Hmm.
something, it's like, okay, do I have those?
Yes.
you know,
100%.
like how can I expect someone to give me that something that I haven't like fortified within myself? So
Yeah.
I'm like, I really like my reflection right now.
And
This is
it's not
great.
it's not it's not about knowing more, it's about
Yeah.
feeling more. So it's
Yeah.
like we know so much more than we think we know. It's just about feeling it and integrating it and then having
Mm,
the courage to step out and embody it. We really I just living with intention every single day. It doesn't need to be these massive wins or these massive adjustments. It's 1% every day. And
mm,
so that's why we're saying like I'm a student of life. If you get 1% better every single day, like frame it however is motivating to you, but just try a little bit more every single day. Try to not get as lost in your phone scrolling if it's something that's unhealthy. Try to not turn on the TV for an extra 10 minutes at night if that's what you want to do and maybe sit. Like it's the scariest thing for people to actually sit with themselves in quiet and peace
mm,
and reflection. People don't want to feel. We're
mm.
taught to be scared of feeling. And so the more that you could feel and the less you seek for external knowledge, it's like just when you start to get quiet with yourself, it's really beautiful how much you realize you know, and then you can feel it and then you can live it.
Any other like tips, tools of the trade to feel more? Because I think that I went to Egypt last May, and
Wow.
it was like about like the guide that I went with. She said she's like a good friend too. She's like, okay, this is going to be about getting insider clarity on
Mm,
your purpose. And so
mm,
I was like, I touched the Sphinx, and I'm like, okay, show me like what am I here to help people do? And
yes.
I got expanding the capacity to feel. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, snap. Great. Okay. So I love that you're touching on that and like emphasizing the importance of feeling.
Mhm.
Besides like sitting still or being with ourselves, any other.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I think. Do I
So
need to
there are
buckle
two
up?
things.
No.
There
Okay.
are
Yeah.
two things.
Okay.
One of the things is I talk out loud to myself
Ah,
often.
I've heard it's a sign of intelligence. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Mine's more so that and like reflecting back to myself.
Mm.
So every single day I have been journaling for the past 10 years. Journaling doesn't have to look like sitting down and writing in a notebook. It does not need to look like that. What I transitioned to the past like 6 years, because there was one point every single morning that I would wake up and I was journaling for hours. I'm talking like 3, 4, 5 hours. And I was like, this feels really good. This is really good for me, not sustainable. Like, I
Yeah.
cannot, like, I'm going to look at myself in a year. There's no way that I'm going to be able to do this. So, what I ended up doing was transitioning that to my phone. So, I literally have a folder in my phone, in my notes app. And every single month, it's just like a new note. And then I write the date. And so, what I do, whether it's in the morning while I'm getting ready, in the car while I'm driving, while I'm out on a walk, maybe when I'm cooking, I'll just press the microphone button and I'll start talking and it'll just transcribe in my
Mm.
phone. What that's allowed me to do, whether you decide to transcribe it in your phone or not, whether you decide to do voice memos or whether you just feel like talking out loud to yourself, start processing out loud. Why do you think therapy is so effective? What
Mm.
happens? You're in a room, the therapist prompts a question and it is quiet.
Mm.
And what do? You talk. You just talk. So allow yourself to be your own therapist. Start talking through how to feel. Right now and like break it down. And it takes time. Like it's not easy to just identify. A lot of people don't know how to even identify how they're feeling. So if you have a tightness in your chest, then something you could say is, I'm feeling this tightness in my chest. That's interesting. Being curious, right? That's interesting. I'm actually feeling a lot of anger too right now. I wonder why. Today, someone said something that rubbed me the wrong way and actually made me feel like not seen. I feel like I was looked over. I don't feel appreciated. I actually didn't get any hugs today either, so I didn't feel a lot of love. Oh, interesting. Huh, okay. And honestly, like throughout that, just
Mm.
start to talk it out, like start to understand. And when we're talking and we hear ourselves, it becomes more real. And we start to just like that emotion is now moving through our body. And so I love talking out loud to myself in like safe spaces. I'm not saying it because oftentimes what I used to do was I used to have someone I always used to go and talk to and just pour onto. And it's not their job to hold my shit. It's my job to hold my shit. So when I do that on my own, then when I show up with someone, I find myself not needing to pour onto them. I can actually be present and usually hold them because
Mm.
I've already processed my stuff. So I love talking out loud to myself. And then the other way I love to feel is working out
Mm.
and moving. And you know, movement is energy in motion. Like that emotion is energy in motion. And so whenever I'm working out and I have my headphones in and I'm listening to music, I am just lost in my mind to muscle connection and I'm just feeling, feeling, feeling. So whether I'm doing my last reps and it's so painful, what is likely pushing me through that? Some sort of energy from my day. It's usually I was usually something frustrating or something heavy that happened, and I just need to move it through my body. So when people are like, how do you work out every day? I'm like, dude, I'm going to therapy. I'm sure I'm going to therapy. I need to move this energy through my body because it's stuck right now. And I actually can't be present with you until I feel grounded myself. So again, I'll either digitally journal or speak out loud, or I will go to the gym or I will go on a walk. Like I just need to get rid of everything except for myself and my presence.
Mm.
Get rid of your phone, get rid of music, get rid of
Mm.
literally everything. Just be with yourself and your body however you can. And you will start to find a lot of clarity on how you feel. Again, you know a lot more than you think you know, but it's just the practices that we're not implementing to actually get us to feel.
I love those.
Yeah.
I love that. That's a good little trick, like the voice memo to note
It's so
too.
it's
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
so
No.
I'm telling you, it's saved me more times than I can ever hope for. And it's helped me realize a lot more because when you're talking out loud, you're like, oh my God, I actually didn't really like it's you against you. And you're like, I didn't realize that actually was something I felt. Interesting. And like you're going into this dialogue by yourself and it's really beautiful.
No, I
Yeah.
love that. Okay, I'm going to take a quick peek and then I want to
Yeah.
give you space to share anything that you want to share too. Let's see. Okay. Well, what's okay? I like this one. It says, Oh, okay, there's 2. Okay.
Yes, give it to me.
I'm gonna read both, and I'll let
Yeah.
you choose which
Okay.
one, okay?
Okay.
Because 'Cause I'm like, "Ah."
I love this.
The first question is, what's the one misconception about relationships or communication that you wish everyone would throw in the trash?
Oof.
Or what is your hope for how we evolve the way we love, lead, and communicate as a collective?
Oof. Wow, those are both really good. My hope for how we love and lead as a collective is truly bringing ourselves back to being human.
Mm.
Okay. My theory is that the way I like to think about it is we were all these particles and energy out in the ethers, right? We're all blissful souls. All souls can feel is bliss when there's no form, shape, or anything. That's all we can feel. We all decided out there in the ethers at the same time, because we're existing right now, hey, look at that rock. Do you want to go down there for about like 100 years? Do you want to feel 5 senses that we can't feel right now? Do you want to experience extreme happiness and extreme sadness and just being able to move through those things? And oh my God, here's the bonus. We're going to actually go down there forgetting everything. So our whole goal is to go through remembering, through having all of these emotions and feelings that we actually don't have right now. Do you want to do that? And we all said yes. We all said yes. So when we're trying to move forward and like how to be more connected and loving as a collective, can we just be more human? Can we laugh more? Can we love more? Can we just speak what's on our heart more? And when you're speaking what's on your heart, there doesn't need to be charge behind it. Because if it's your truth and it's not coming from projection or something angry that you've processed or all those kinds of things, then you can come about it being like, hey, what I actually really wish we talked about during this podcast that we didn't was this. Is that okay with you? And what are you going to say? Oh, no, you're not going to react. You're going to be like,
Come
oh,
back to round 2.
thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
So I just hope that we can all remember that we chose this human experience
Mhm.
and none of us make it out alive anyway. So just have fun and
Mm.
play truly and bring fun and bring energy and bring levity into everything that you do because we're supposed to come down here to explore and play and create and impact and love and connect, you know?
I
So
love
it's as
that.
simple as that.
Amen. Preach.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
be human.
Be
The
human.
totality of the human
Be
experience.
human,
Awesome.
man.
Anything you want to share that we didn't cover?
Oh my God.
Or connecting with you offers any of that you want to drop in?
I feel very complete with this. I really appreciate just the space to explore the range because I'm really passionate about it and it's what I find brings a lot of happiness and bliss to my life. And when people are like, how are you so positive or how are you so happy? And it's like it's these little pieces that we practice throughout a day, then it brings us to connections like this where we can actually share it on a bigger scale. And so something I'm really passionate about doing and what I'm bringing to life a lot right now is supporting leaders and CEOs and founders in their personal brand. So the strategy in which it is to tell their story, to show up and be witnessed online in a way that feels safe and doesn't feel extractive or super exposed. You know, that's a big challenge for a lot of founders and CEOs. They're like, I want my life to be private. I don't want people to know. Well, yes, and you can still show people that you're human and you can still allow them to connect to you without giving, people are always going to have opinions. But one of my favorite things is really seeing that person come alive because instead of it being, this is who I need to show up as in front of the camera versus this is who I am at my family dinner. There's really no difference in the energy of it. You're still able to like express and show that, but in a way that feels safe for you. And so that's what's really exciting me right now in terms of how I'm able to support other people and conversations like these. Like it's a lot of conversations like this where it's like, where's that fear coming up in your body? Where's that living? Okay, what can we do 1% today? One conversation we can have, one way of showing up that allows you to get a little bit closer to feeling safe. And then that safety has to be affirmed and it needs to be, reflected back to us. So like, oh, okay, that was safe. Oh, okay, I'll move a little closer or I'll do something more. So it's a really fun game and strategy and impact that I'm able to make with people who have a lot of impact or a lot of influence with those around them.
I love that.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with
Me
you. It's very
too.
heartwarming. I'm like, oh, God, I can't wait to share all these gems.
Thank you. Thank you. This is amazing. Thank you for holding the space and the great prompts and everything. This is really cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.